Okay, are you ready to dive into something truly fascinating? We're tackling the Bhagavad Gita today.
Yeah.
You've sent us a whole collection of excerpts, and commentary looks like you're ready to go deep.
Definitely a rich text to explore.
It is, and I think what always gets me about the Gita is its setting. You know, imagine we're on a battlefield,
Oh, yeah.
not just any battlefield, but one where the warrior Arjuna is facing an impossible choice.
Mm,
Fight his own family and potentially kill them, or refuse and be seen as a coward.
right. Huge stakes.
Talk about a moral dilemma.
Absolutely. A story meant to really make us think.
It is, and
Mhm.
and guiding Arjuna through this whole crisis is Lord Krishna.
Right, an avatar of the divine.
Yeah, their conversation isn't just a philosophical debate. It's like a crash course in understanding the nature of reality.
Exactly. And one of the very first mind-bending concepts that Krishna introduces is this idea that the spirit, the true self, is eternal.
Yeah.
He compares the physical body to a set of clothes, something we wear for a while and then discard.
I love that analogy. It makes the idea of death and reincarnation so much more tangible.
Yeah.
So, if the spirit is eternal, what does that mean for how we approach life's challenges?
Well, it prompts us to consider what truly matters, you know? The Gita isn't about clinging to the temporary, but about aligning ourselves with something much bigger, something timeless. And that's where this concept of karma yoga, this path of selfless action, comes in.
It's such a powerful idea, and one that's honestly a little intimidating to me.
Sure.
Acting without attachment to the results,
Yeah.
doing what's right without getting caught up in personal gain or loss.
Yeah.
That seems almost superhuman.
Yeah, it is challenging, no doubt, but the Gita doesn't just present this lofty ideal. It provides a framework for how to embody it.
Okay.
Look at the example of King Janaka, a ruler who achieved self-realization while still actively engaged in the world.
Wow.
He didn't retreat to a cave. He transformed his actions from within.
That's fascinating. So it's not about escaping our responsibilities, but about changing our relationship to them. Imagine approaching your work, your relationships, with that kind of detachment from personal gain.
Yeah,
It's a radical shift in perspective.
absolutely. And it's a shift that can potentially liberate us from a lot of unnecessary suffering.
How so?
Well, think about it. How much of our stress comes from clinging to outcomes, from needing things to go a certain way?
Too much, probably.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, Arjuna isn't just struggling with big picture questions of duty and detachment. He's also wrestling with something I think we all experience, that
Mhm.
inner battle with our own minds and senses.
Yes, that's a relatable struggle. He's overwhelmed by doubt, fear, the pull of his desires, all these things that paralyze him from taking action.
Yeah.
You know, the Gita acknowledges that the mind can be our greatest enemy, constantly bombarding us with distractions and desires.
It's like the Gita is saying, hey, we get it. Taming the mind is tough. But it also offers these techniques to help us, right?
Right. Meditation is key, learning to withdraw the senses from constant stimulation. It's about cultivating this ability to choose where we direct our attention, rather than constantly being pulled this way and that by external forces.
And the Gita is really clear about the dangers of lust, which isn't just about romantic desire, but any craving that keeps us from seeing clearly.
Right.
It calls lust an enemy that covers self-knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Why is understanding and controlling desire so important on this path?
Because these insatiable desires, the kind that can never be fully satisfied, keep us trapped in this cycle of seeking and striving.
Yeah.
We become so fixated on attaining the object of our desire that we lose sight of that true source of happiness within.
So it's not about suppressing desires altogether, but recognizing which ones are pulling us away from our true nature, from that inner peace that the Gita points towards.
Exactly. And this connects back to the concept of equanimity, that state of inner balance that's not disturbed by the fluctuations of life. It's not about becoming emotionless, but about cultivating a stillness within that allows us to respond to these challenges with clarity and wisdom rather than just pure reactivity.
Okay, so we've got this idea that the spirit is eternal, the importance of selfless action, the struggle to control the mind, and this goal of cultivating inner balance.
Yeah.
But then the Gita throws in this incredibly vivid description of the Supreme Being, this cosmic vision that just blows Arjuna's mind.
That's right, that famous vision of the universal form, a glimpse into the infinite nature of the divine that transcends our very limited human comprehension.
Yeah.
It's designed to shatter our ordinary perceptions of reality and awaken us to a much deeper truth.
It's one thing to read about duty and desire, but then to be confronted with this all-encompassing vision of creation.
Right.
No wonder Arjuna is terrified.
It's meant to be awe-inspiring and overwhelming throughout history, Mystical experiences like this have often been described as both terrifying and liberating.
Wow.
You know, it's like encountering the source of all existence, and it challenges everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the universe.
So how do we even begin to process something so vast? The Gita offers several paths to connecting with the divine right, like knowledge, selfless service, meditation, and devotion.
Yeah.
Is there a right path?
Well, it's interesting because the Gita actually elevates the path of selfless service, karma yoga, above even the path of knowledge.
Right.
Action, when performed with the right intention and detachment, can be a powerful catalyst for spiritual growth.
That makes me think about the impact of even small actions. How aligning ourselves with this principle can have a ripple effect far beyond what we might imagine.
Precisely. And what's truly remarkable is that the Gita offers this message of hope and inclusivity, stating that even the most sinful person can attain liberation through devotion and surrender to the divine will.
That's powerful. It's a reminder that the path to spiritual awakening is open to everyone, regardless of their past or perceived flaws.
Yeah.
But just when you think you're starting to grasp these concepts, the Gita introduces these three gunas:
Oh, yeah.
goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Sagunas are fascinating.
They are.
Think of them as these subtle forces that permeate all of existence.
Okay.
They shape our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness is associated with clarity, purity, wisdom, passion with desire, activity, restlessness, and then ignorance with delusion, inertia, and darkness.
So it feels like we're all kind of caught in this constant interplay of the gunas. Is the goal to completely transcend them?
Well, the Gita suggests that by understanding how these forces operate within us, we can begin to make choices that align with the qualities of goodness and gradually shift our internal landscape towards greater balance and clarity. It's a process of self-awareness and conscious evolution, really.
It is fascinating stuff, and we've only just scratched the surface. We'll be back in the next part of this deep dive to explore how these ancient teachings can be applied to our modern lives. So stay tuned.
I'm looking forward to it.
We've been unpacking some pretty profound concepts. You know, the eternal nature of the self, the power of selfless action, and the challenge of mastering our minds.
Definitely a lot to think about.
But I'm wondering, how does this ancient wisdom apply to our modern lives? I mean, we're not exactly facing these chariot-charging dilemmas on a daily basis.
That's where the real magic of the Gita lies. Its teachings are timeless, precisely because they address the universal human experience. We may not be facing literal battlefields, but we all encounter situations where our duties clash with our desires, where fear and doubt kind of paralyze us, and we grapple with making these difficult choices.
So how do we apply the Gita's guidance in those moments? Take this idea of conflicting duties, for example.
Sure.
The Gita talks a lot about dharma, our unique purpose in life.
Right.
But what happens when we feel pulled in these different directions, when multiple responsibilities seem equally important?
That's where discernment becomes so essential. The Gita encourages us to cultivate this deep understanding of our true dharma, our highest calling,
Yeah.
and make choices that align with that inner compass. It's about listening to the voice of wisdom within, even when it might lead us down a path that's less comfortable or conventional.
It's about acting with integrity even when it's tough.
Exactly.
But sometimes fulfilling our dharma also means letting go of attachments, right? Even attachments to people or things that we love. That seems counterintuitive, almost painful.
It is one of the most challenging teachings, no doubt. The Gita reminds us that everything in the material world is temporary,
Yeah.
and that clinging to those things ultimately leads to suffering. But it's not about becoming cold or unfeeling.
Okay.
It's about shifting our focus from attachment to the things themselves, to the love and connection that they represent.
So like appreciating the beauty of a flower without needing to possess it.
Yes.
Enjoying the dance without clinging to the dancer.
Beautiful way to put it. And this detachment, this non-clinging, doesn't mean that we stop caring. In fact, the Gita emphasizes the importance of cultivating compassion and loving kindness towards all beings.
So recognizing the divine spark in everyone, even those we might consider our enemies.
Yes, that's a tall order.
That is a tall order.
But the Gita provides us with this powerful tool for navigating those complexities.
Oh, look at that.
This concept of equanimity.
Oh, yeah. Equanimity.
It's about responding to all situations with this balanced mind, free from the extremes of love and hate, joy and sorrow.
Okay, so it's not about becoming emotionless, but about developing a kind of inner stability that allows us to weather life's ups and downs without being swept away by them.
Exactly.
But how do we cultivate equanimity? It sounds like an advanced yoga technique.
Well, think of it as a continuous journey rather than a destination.
Yep.
The Gita suggests various techniques for cultivating equanimity,
Like what?
including meditation, mindfulness, and selfless service. It's about training the mind to become less reactive to external circumstances and finding that deeper sense of peace within.
It's like building a muscle, that inner strength and resilience that allows us to face those challenges with grace and clarity.
Precisely. And the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. The
Hmm.
Gita reminds us that we have the power to choose how we respond to challenges. By cultivating that steady mind, we can experience greater peace and freedom, regardless of what's happening around us.
It's amazing to think how these ancient teachings are still so relevant today.
Hmm.
We may not be facing literal battlefield dilemmas,
Right.
but we all deal with tough choices and inner conflicts and that very human desire to find meaning in a world that can feel chaotic and uncertain at times.
Absolutely. And the Gita offers this timeless wisdom that can guide us through those challenges. It's about connecting with that inner source of strength and wisdom that's always available to us,
Hmm.
no matter what our circumstances might be.
One of the things that really struck me while diving into these texts is this idea that even just a little practice of these teachings can have a profound impact.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel overwhelming or out of reach.
I agree. That's one of the most encouraging aspects of the Gita. It's not about becoming this perfect yogi or meditating for hours on end. It's
Right.
about incorporating those principles into our daily lives, even in small, manageable ways.
So what are some practical steps we can take? What would those small ways look like in practice?
It could be as simple as starting each day with a few minutes of mindful breathing, or setting an intention to approach our work with that spirit of selfless service.
Right?
Maybe choosing compassion over judgment when we encounter difficult people, or practicing forgiveness in our relationships.
It's about making those little shifts in perspective, those moments of awareness that can gradually transform our experience from the inside out.
Exactly. And those seemingly small acts of awareness, they create this ripple effect, influencing not only our well-being, but also the energy that we bring to our interactions with others and the world around us.
It's like planting seeds of wisdom and kindness that can blossom into something truly beautiful.
That's a beautiful image. The Gita reminds us that this journey of spiritual growth is a lifelong process.
Hmm.
It's not about reaching some distant goal, but about embracing the present moment and making conscious choices that align with our highest aspirations.
So progress over perfection. I love that. And speaking of progress, I'm curious about your own journey with the Gita. What's one of the most surprising or unexpected things you've discovered in your deep dives into this text?
You know what surprised me most was the emphasis on the interconnectedness of all things.
Yeah.
It's not just the spiritual concept, but it's this fundamental principle woven into the fabric of existence,
Hmm.
that realization that we're all part of this vast cosmic web and that our actions have consequences that ripple outward, affecting the whole,
Yeah.
has been both humbling and empowering. It's shifted my perspective and approach to life in really profound ways.
Yeah, that idea of interconnectedness, that's something that I keep coming back to as well, really makes the Gita's teachings feel so relevant,
Yeah.
even though it was written centuries ago.
It's a testament to the wisdom of this text for
Yeah.
sure. And speaking of interconnectedness, there's a verse from the Gita that captures this concept so beautifully.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
It says, "For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me."
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
One of those verses that just stops you in your tracks,
Yeah.
speaks to a level of unity that's hard to grasp with our everyday minds.
Yeah, it's a profound shift in perspective when we start to see the divine in all things and all beings. That illusion of separateness, it just starts to dissolve. We
Mm.
realize we're all interconnected, threads in the same cosmic fabric.
And that realization has the power to change everything.
Oh, absolutely.
It impacts how we relate to each other, how we treat the planet, how we
Yeah.
approach our own lives.
It does. It fosters a sense of deep compassion, empathy, and love that extends to all beings.
Mm-hmm.
It's recognizing that we're all part of this grand tapestry of existence, each playing our unique role.
Which brings us back to this idea of karma yoga, the path of selfless service.
Yeah.
If we're truly interconnected, then our actions have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
That's a key understanding. Karma yoga isn't just about, performing good deeds for the sake of it. It's
Right.
about recognizing that our actions are intimately linked to the well-being of others and the world around us.
Right.
It's about acting with awareness and intention, understanding that we're all contributing to this collective tapestry of existence.
So it shifts the focus from personal gain to
Yeah.
this deeper sense of purpose and responsibility.
Right.
It's not about seeking rewards or recognition,
Mm-hmm.
but about acting from a place of genuine care and concern for the greater good.
Precisely. It's a shift from a mindset of me to a mindset of we.
Yeah.
And that shift can have a profound impact on every aspect of our lives.
How so?
How we approach our work, how we interact with loved ones, how we engage with our communities and the world at large.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
what's the one thing you hope our listeners will take away from this? What's that essence of this ancient wisdom that can make a real difference in their lives today?
Well, I really hope they remember that the path to liberation, to true peace and happiness is available to each and every one of us. It's not about achieving some distant goal, but about cultivating awareness, compassion, and this deep connection to the divine within and all around us.
It's about embracing the journey, right?
Yes.
With all its challenges and its triumphs, and recognizing that even those small steps taken with intention can lead to profound transformation.
Absolutely. And remember that beautiful verse from the Gita we talked about earlier. Even a little practice of these teachings can free us from that fear of birth and death.
They can.
What small step can you take today to apply this wisdom to your own life? That journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth awaits, and the Gita offers a timeless map to guide you along the way.
Beautiful words to end on. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita. It's
Yeah.
been a truly enlightening conversation.
It has my pleasure. Thanks for having me.